can you get the people not in the best mind state, that aren't the actual natural winners? Like you and I know that when we talk to someone, or even let's just say it's us right now, we were inevitably going to do pretty good. We're going to win, right? Maybe could have we done better, made it faster, all of those sort of things? Yeah, of course. But how do you get the people further down that rung? How do you have them win? Like what's the system and methodology that you can create and bring to the market that is then going to be able to do that? Once you've got that down, you will not have limiting belief of, is my shit good enough? This is an experiment of an episode. This is giving you a seat in a private consultation as I help a coach be able to build their business. Now, I currently charge $4K for a consult and you get this for free. Why? Because this is going to be showing you and giving you the thinking process, the steps, the frameworks that I use with partners, with businesses to be able to unlock what it is that's holding them back, the constraints that are stopping them from being able to grow and earn more money so that they are able to be able to build the businesses that they're ultimately wanting to be able to build. And if this episode is helpful, please let me know. I want to know if you want me to keep doing these.
Yeah, so it's taken me, I've only just recently got into the coaching space. It's taken me a while to really dig down on like my pitch, I guess, my elevator pitch of who it is that I'm actually going after. And so that's essentially men in small business, trades and services that are looking to scale their businesses to multiple seven figures, removing themselves from the tools and getting healthy while doing it.
Love it. Okay.
So that's essentially it. I do think there's opportunity to niche down. I did have a chat with Dan Bolton and
amazing.
He said to me, he goes, why don't you niche down into your actual business that you have currently, which is a tire automotive business. So I own like 3 retail tire businesses and we also import tires from China as a separate wholesale company and dropshipping company. We've scaled that to nearly $1 million a month in revenue, top line. So that's I've done that in 4 years. So I am pretty good at like growing tire businesses. And but I was just a bit scared to niche down because I just thought Australia, 25 million people, was concerned about the scalability. But he said that he had a client which had an automotive coaching business in Australia that was doing $300K a month. And I was just like, I was absolutely blown away. So I'm not too sure at the moment. I think I'm still going to be targeting those trade services because just to see where it goes. Yeah, just to see where it goes.
I have one partner that coaches auto repair shop owners doing multiple 6 figures a month just in Australia. So if you wanted to niche down, I agree with my amigo Dan with that line of advice. I did have one thing. So with what you said, scale to multi 7 figures, get off the tools and get healthy. That to me was kind of like the record scratch moment, where it was a case of the get healthy part. So is it business coaching and personal development? Is it business coaching and fitness? Like what's the line of what it is that the person gets?
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in, dialing in your habits and rituals to become the operator that you need to be to reach 7 figures. I think with what I've got going and the amount of stress that I'm under at all times, chosen stress, it doesn't have to be like that. But I really think you do have to become extremely dialed in, which I'm sure, you look like you are as well. So my habits, rituals, what I put into my body, I was trying to go for a bit of a point of difference where we actually, it's more of a bonus and where we do throw in, we give them a program, we help them with their macros and all that sort of stuff. And I give them my morning routines and, biohacking rituals to essentially make them dial in so that they feel amazing and thrive. I think it's really just a mechanism to build that momentum within the business as well. When you get everything stacked up outside of work. So I was in 2 minds where I was just like, I'm reading $100 million offers at the moment, and it's just like, how do we create an offer? And then once they're on board, there's like an immediate sort of positive experience to make them feel like their investment was worthwhile. So I was thinking, do I niche it down again? Don't talk about the habits, rituals, and all that sort of that bonuses, the training program and the nutrition stuff, because it might also scare some people away. And so I thought, why don't we just throw that in as an immediate bonus? As soon as they sign up, it's like, look, by the way, as well, if you're interested, we have we can do a personalized training and nutrition program. We give you all of our biohacker rituals. This is one of our secrets to success, is dialing in all your habits and rituals. We want to get you set up on this straight away as part of the onboarding process. And so they go, oh, fuck, this is cool. Like, this is a bonus I wasn't aware of. So that's something I'm thinking of about changing. Yeah.
I like where you're going. And I think a big case of that as well is the initial marketing message is simple and easy to grasp. Like a confused mind is a mind that will not buy. So that's where I was like, oh, and get healthy. But actually, it goes beyond get healthy. Like if I was to like put my marketing or copywriter hat on, it would be more along the lines of, I mean, I help tradies get off the tools, make 7 figures profit a year, and be the man that their wife dreams of. So it's kind of like, what is the actual thing that they're kind of going to go
the outcome if they get that. Yeah,
exactly right. And again, it's also a case of, it could more be the case of get them in the door about, hey, do you just want to get off the tools and make $1 million profit a year? Because I'm the guy that gets you to do that. Then when they're in the door, you're like, the way that we do that is actually we've got to dial you in first, because you're not going to be able to show up and operate as the person that you need to be so that you can lead your business and do all of like doing blah, 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 the things that we know that need to happen from there as well. So I think the first thing that comes up for me is, what is the message? What is the market? What is the medium? I want to get clear super on that, which is the message, which is what is the message that you're putting out into the world? So do you mean if I bumped into you onto the street, do you know what I mean? This afternoon, James, what is it that you would say to me? So I'd go, oh, you are the guy for me. You are the guy that's going to solve my problems right now. Do you know what I mean? If I was a tradesperson, or if you wanted to go a little bit more niche down, that's perfectly fine as well. Then it goes to the market. Who is it that you want to be able to serve as well? I don't feel like you have to niche further down. That's not something for me that's jumping out that needs to happen. I think it's more about the poignancy of the message. And then the medium is, how are you, this is actually a question, how are you currently trying to get people, these guys, to know that you exist and to try and take them into a sales process?
Yeah. So the reason I got into the space was obviously I was running the business, and we still run the businesses, just getting some peers and that sort of thing ask me for advice with their business. And so it has been in the back of my mind for like, probably 18 months now to get into this space, but I just didn't know how. And then long story short, I got on a call with Wes Watson. You might have seen, and he sold it straight away. So I got onto his program, and like, although I don't think he provided a hell of a lot of value, what he does, I think, really well is communicate just how easy it is to get into the space. And so his methodology is his blueprint, which is purely organic, which is just living the life that you preach. Being in alignment at a higher frequency, and then trying to get into the DMs and actually communicate with your audience and organically grow that way. And so I was, doing I was listening to your podcast with you and James Kemp and doing the Thumb Warrior thing. And it was just like, my wife was getting the shits with me. I felt like I was, distant from my actual business that was making me money. And I definitely got some sales, but like, I just don't like the fact that it isn't measurable. And so, yeah, I was trying to find a way to get away from that. So like pretty much in November, I was just like, I'm done with this model. We need to roll out an actual marketing sales funnel with a landing page and that sort of thing. And then I started listening to a bit of Brandon Forbes as well, which you might have seen him or not. And he's got so it's a bit more of a hybrid model. So we've got social funnel, pretty similar to what I've seen, where you boost ads for followers. And then you've got the setter that engages with those new followers, books sales calls. And then we've got our actual funnel where we run ads that are more targeted to like more call to action business type, speaking to like the pain points. So like, are you a small business wearing way too many hats? Are you getting burnt out and you're starting to wonder why you got into business in the first place? Those sort of ads lead into our landing page, which has a register, and then so they register name, phone number, email, and then that goes straight through to where they can book a discovery call. And so we've been testing that whole process and refining the landing page, refining everything to the point where we see what ads work. We've got to the landing page, right, they're not registering. How do we fix the landing page? Fix the landing page, right, sweet. Now they're going through to the registry and actually booking calls. And now we're actually quite cheaply getting people through that process, through the funnel, and actually booking in discovery calls for about $36-40.
So a cost per call is, let's say, $40 at the moment.
Yeah, which I think from the research I've done is quite cheap. But like I said, this is all new territory for me. I've never done this shit.
What's the price point? It's all relative. What's the price point of what you're selling?
So we're jiggling around with that at the moment. So how we deliver that, but essentially it's $9,997 for the year. But we're going to play around with how we deliver the costs.
9,997, so 10 grand for the year.
Correct. Yeah.
Great.
So high ticket, but we are looking to bring in some monthly recurring revenue. So potentially pitching it like, it's $250 a week. We require a down payment of X. We're still trying to figure out what the cost per close is going to be, so we can cover ad spend. So we get that initial down payment so that we actually make some money from the very beginning, and then it's reoccurring, which ends up being about $13,000 for the year. If you'd like to save $3,000 today, we can get you on board and get you on for $9,997.
Okay. So if we say a cost per triage, so is it 2 calls or 1 call that you're doing the close process with?
We're doing like a setting call, which is like making sure that they're a fit, and then we're doing the actual sales call. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So let's sort 2 call close. So let's say if it's a cost per triage at 40, do you know what your conversion rate to cost per the second call is?
Well, the sales call.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at the moment. We haven't actually closed since we've we tested this on really low ad spend over December, and I just only Monday upped my ad spend to $100 a day with that funnel, and $60 a day with the social funnel.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so let me break this down. This is really good. Before I break this down and we get into the numbers, I'm just going to share one thing with you. So this is an example like acquisition map that I use with partners. And so we just quickly walk through. So at the moment for lead generation, let's just say you're using like Instagram and ads, right?
Correct.
At the moment, you're kind of just driving them into the call application, or do you have something like a lead magnet that they're opting into first?
I'm in the middle of doing a bit of a lead magnet. I've done a Mindset Accelerator course, which I've only just sort of published.
The current funnel that you're running now, is it kind of like the add to the call?
Almost, yeah, pretty much.
Okay, cool. Let's just leave it at that. That's fine. That's fine. So ideally then they go to the call. Ideally as well, do you know what I mean? We're able to follow up to have emails and then the DM. So there is a thumb warrior in there doing it. And then the rest of the sales process. So they obviously apply for the call, they qualify, then they go and show to the call. Obviously, if they don't show to the call, we nurture them back with no-show emails, no-show outbound. If they qualify through that first call, they obviously get onto the second call. If they're sold, collect payment, take them into the program. If not, we can sell them into what we call like the hero program, which is like a lower level program for them. It doesn't sound like you have that now, so don't worry about it. Like we can build that later, right?
Yeah.
So at the moment, all I'm thinking we need to do is make sure that we have the numbers behind getting people in through here and getting enough people through here and making sure that your sales process does the rest of the selling. Okay.
Yeah.
So even if I have just one number right now, I'll kind of give you some benchmark numbers that I would love to see for the rest of your sales pipeline. Okay. If you're getting a cost per triage for $40, let's just say it's 50% conversions from each step. So if someone gets on a triage, only 50% of those people are going to get on a strategy session. Okay. Which means that would be a cost per strategy of $80. And then if you can convert only 50%, and I'm lowballing numbers, I would expect higher, but if you can convert 50% of your strategy sessions to an actual sale, that means a cost per acquisition would be $160, which means $160 to make a 10 grand sale. Let's just call it 10 grand that they're worth. Some might be worth 13 because they take the weekly payments or whatever it is. That's fine. Those numbers mean you can print money.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I'm G'd up. Like we're right there. I said to
print money. Now, do I expect the numbers of $40 cost per triage to continue? No, but you've got room to move. Like you could double it and I still wouldn't give a shit, right? Like you go, it's a cost per triage of 80. Like in so many of our other partners, a cost per triage, we're probably happy to pay $500 for a triage. Do you know what I mean? To be able to have a system where we can continually sell and collect. So if I were you, what I would ask you to do track those numbers meticulously. So track how much does it cost you to get a call. And so you know how you're running 2 funnels at the moment? You're running one funnel, which is get people to follow your account. And the second one is to get the call. Just lump the spend all together. So just put the spend money all together and just say, all right, say for example, let's say all up, you're spending $160 a day on ads, which means you're spending, let's just call it to make the math easy, $5,000 a month on ads at the moment. So if you spend $5,000 a month on ads, and then let's say we get 20 applications, that means you're paying $250 for an application, which means it's $500 for a triage, $1,000 for a strategy, $2,000. Okay, so this is probably like the top numbers that I wouldn't want you to push above, if I could be perfectly honest. So if you spent $5,000 a month on ads at the moment and you got only 20 applications for the calls to come through, that means you would probably spend about $2,000 for one client. Now, $2,000, essentially you're saying, I'm going to give Zuckerberg $2,000 and he's going to be able to give me $10,000 back. I'm not opposed to it. Is it good numbers? No, I would expect far better. But again, you're going to get more than 20 applications for the calls coming through, right? So I would say that's probably the number if you went above that, because there's leading and lagging indicators. If I get like a little bit technical with the mumbo jumbo, right? So the number that will tell you as fast as possible if something is working is going to be, is your marketing working? If I had one number, I'll look at your cost per application. Right?
Yeah.
Because in a lot of the cases, marketing kind of stops once the application is made and then sales begins, right? It's kind of like the marketing department, sales department. So if your sales department comes in and go, all right, we've got an application here. Now I need to take them into the second call close process. We know how that works. Does that make sense for you?
100%. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. So if you spend $5,000, your minimum amount of application calls coming through would be 20, which means 10 triages calls would be minimum per month for you to take on. But you're from that $5,000, you'll make roughly between 20 to 25 grand.
Yeah.
That doesn't include cost like COGS. Do you know what I mean? That's just the marketing expense. That's not like anything else. Okay, so far what we've covered together, first thing I want you to work on is the message market medium, nailing that. Second is dialing in your sales pipeline from your advertising. What do you think is the third thing that's missing? Like, what do you think's missing or broken that you would like getting on this call you really wanted to get fixed?
I'm pretty big on mindset, but I do feel like an overwhelm of like imposter syndrome. Like my beliefs are there. You know, I've done it, and like unlike a lot of coaches in the coaching space, like I actually have a legitimate business that I've built. But I just have this like fear of like scaling this, like because I can see the numbers here. It's just like literally just a matter of time because we've perfected it until the sales process, which is I guess where we're at now. It's just like, you know, how do we close more sales? But I understand that it's like because I've got a closer, and he's helped me set a lot of this up. You know, so he's got to sort of feel the sales roll out. You know, he's going to find his narrative and his way to communicate the deal, which by getting a few more reps in, which I'm prepared to spend the money on. But it's just, I guess that feeling of like, fuck, like what if I get all these people coming in and then I can't provide the value that I really want to, you know, because I don't want this to be a money grab experience. I want this to be an actual, like, we provide a community and we provide service and skills and things that I just didn't have. You know, I made that many mistakes over the last 4 years building this beast, and if we can help nurture people a lot easier, that is the goal. But it's just like, I'm just concerned about that not being able to deliver the goods. But I think I can. I know I can. But it's just there is that like feeling of like overwhelmed at the moment where I'm just like, fuck, what do I do if I've got like 100 clients in here? You know what I mean? Like, and
I love that you say this. I think it's very mature and healthy for you to have a current roadblock right now that is the belief in what you are delivering. Is it actually going to be amazing, keep people around, do you know what I mean, give you a good reputation, a good name and all of that kind of stuff?
100%.
Why do you think it's not a good delivery?
Because I've literally just started in the space, and yeah, I guess I'm just the comparison side of things.
Yep.
I'm just not too sure. But in saying that, I literally got a DM yesterday in our elite community, and one of our community members said, "Hey man, I've got a mate. I've told him that he needs to, join the community. Where do we go from here?" So I'm like, well, if one of my good clients, who's I got him on as a one-on-one, and he was happy to pay 10K for the 3 months. For one-on-one, plus he's in the community as well as a bonus. If he's happy with what he's getting and he wants to refer a friend, then like it mustn't be too bad. And we have fully jam-packed and increased our value in the offer before we started this. So last year it was literally just me on a group call once a week. I'd help them with their training and nutrition. That people were calling me, DMing me, and all that sort of stuff. But we've moved everything to school. I've created like some curriculum in there. So vision, mission, values, goal setting, SMART goals, mindset accelerator course. So that's like part of their onboarding process. They have to go through that before they catch up with me for their one-on-one intensive. And then I've also brought in strategic partners. So I've got my own personal accountant. He comes on once a month to do finance and accounting for small business. And then I bring on a 7 to 9 figure guest every month from my own personal network. And then I've got a HR and systems consultant who comes on every second month. And I've got a Google and local marketing guru who comes on every other month. So I've brought in these partners to sort of like just bring in a couple of extra workshops every month. So, because I think my expertise in small business is like sort of seeing where people are at and telling them the next moves and then giving them the confidence to do it. But there is like, professions in there, like HR is not my strong suit. Systems isn't my strong suit. Finance and accounting, I can't give advice on. So bringing those extra layers in, I am feeling confident that it is like high value, but we're only just starting to roll it out. So it's just like it hasn't been tested and proven.
So what comes to me, mate, is I would almost be saying as a part of this sales and closing conversation, this is more of a beta group right now. It's kind of like, hey, we're charging 10 grand a year for this right now. We're going to up this to 15 to 20 soon. This is kind of like more of a beta group where we want you to give us feedback as we go through this. This isn't going to be 100% perfect from the jump, but it will be soon. Just so I feel like I've given this piece of advice to some other coaches when they've kind of been in a situation where they're first getting started, because a couple of things come to me. Number one, so Callum, my right-hand man in the Rainmakers, were literally laughing about this yesterday because we see so many people in this space, business coaching, that actually haven't built legitimate businesses doing something else. So that their only money making has been teaching other people how to do money making. It's just circle jerk that just goes around, right?
Yeah.
You've done it in an outside space, and now you're able to come in and be able to be like, yo, I've got the actual skill sets, the experience, the expertise to be able to do that. I love that you've got that. That's, to me, in my eyes, I'm like, that's really important. Now, the only thing is you coming into like this teaching and coaching space is being able to build the curriculum, the coaching, the culture, the cadence of how things work so that you're able to actually get across and transmute that magic that you've got in here across to your clients. Yeah. So, I've got one, mate, like if there was one person, if you really got stuck on this one thing, you'd be like, I need to really up level my game on being able to really create an amazing course and coaching like system per se. Josh McKitterick is the one guy I believe in the whole entire world that is the best when it comes to this. So if it was like, if you really got stuck on that, I've worked with Josh on a couple of different projects and he's always blown my mind when it comes to like actually creating a coaching and course system for like teaching people stuff. I got this one piece of advice from Alex Hormozy in 2018, and I'm going to regurgitate it and say it to you as well. And that is going to be, you will win when you're able to scrape the bottom of the barrel and turn losers into winners. Now, I know that wording might be quite crude to some people, but I'm going to stick by it right now, which distills down into, in my words, can you get the people not in the best mind state, that aren't the actual natural winners? Like you and I know that when we talk to someone, or even let's just say it's us right now, right? We were inevitably going to do pretty good. We're going to win, right? Maybe could have we done better, made it faster, all of those sort of things? Yeah, of course, right? But how do you get the people that are like further down that rung, how do you have them win? Like, what's the system and methodology that you can create and bring to the market that is then going to be able to do that? Once you've got that down, you will not have a limiting belief of, is my shit good enough? Okay, so 3 major things from here that I'm seeing that I'd love you to work on, dude. Message, market, medium. Make sure that you're really clear on exactly who it is that you want to serve. Like, James, you really know who you want to serve. What is the message that differentiates you from every other Tom, Dick, and Harry that's doing the same thing? And medium, what are the few mediums that you're doing it? Like, is it just Instagram? Do you know what I mean? Or is it, what are the other platforms that you want to play for? It could just be Instagram. I'm not saying it just has to be that. Second, dial in your sales pipeline. You've got ads running. You've got a decent amount of money in the budget already. Just make sure that you can track those numbers through. And just like what I said, cost per application, cost per triage, cost per strategy, cost per acquisition. They're the numbers I'd love to see with it. Third one, really at least build a coaching system that you know is going to turn winners into greater winners. And then you'll be able to iterate and rinse and repeat and make it better and better and better. It sounds like you're already doing that. I think what I'm more trying to do is just give you permission or give you a gentle kick up the arse and just say, focus on that. Do you know what I mean? Like, dedicate 1 day a week where you're just going, like, today, all I'm thinking and working on is just making my coaching system better. Like, you were saying all the things that you've got inside of it. I can tell that you've been thinking and working through this quite a bit, but is it systemized? Do you know what I mean? Like, think of it like a conveyor belt. You get someone, they give you money, they give you their credit card, and that's the start of the conveyor belt. How confident from them going through your system are you producing the result that you're making as your promise to the marketplace?
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. What questions do you have for me before we wrap?
Yeah, I guess, like, if we're getting those people on board for the price that we are at the moment, which is quite cheap, but we haven't closed any, do you think it's just a matter of time with just my closer fine tuning his pitch, I guess? Because, like, do you think the office sounds quite, because 10K for a year is fucking cheap, like, if you're in business, really, like,
in most cases, yeah, in the realms that you and I play in, we know that's a pretty cheap thing compared to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've paid 4 times that for, other coaches over the years. Yeah, okay. Is it just a matter of time that my sales guy should I be? Because obviously I love the model that you guys talk about as well, is where you're building doing massive revenue, really fat margins, and very small teams. I built my business, massive revenue, very slim margins, massive teams, which is typical small business, trade services. There's no escaping that. So do I get a bit more involved with the sales side of things, or do I keep that with the do I just keep coaching my right hand man in that space until we just crack it?
That is a good question. Okay, so the sales numbers only are true when we know we're getting closes, and we know they're true all the way through to the end, right? Because it could be at the moment you've got to hold 20 triages to get 1 sale, which throws the whole thing out. Now, I wouldn't do the calls yourself when you've already got this guy in, because my fear is if you jump in and start doing some calls now, you might lower his morale, and he's going to be like, oh, fuck, like, what's going on? Why is James taking calls? It's going to be taking away from him. Now, is he compensated through commissions?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So if you jump in and start doing
this guy is a rare diamond. He actually, like, he was living with his parents, really young. He actually paid to come on as a client, even though he had raw money. And he just said, can I just help you build this out, because I'm really passionate about it, and I just think you're onto something here. And so he's been helping me on the sideline, and I've been so tempted to just be I'll put him on a wage, but I really love the fire in the belly, and I think if I just give him straight away, then it's just sort of going to take that away. And so I've just seen so much longevity in him, and he's closed a couple, and so before we recreated, so he has actually made a bit of money through us, but he'll be on 10% commissions as a closer. Yeah.
So I'm just going to literally pull something up. I sent this,
and I want him to win. I like it is. I've said to my wife, I'm just I cannot wait to see this kid making 6 figures a year, having built this with me, and we can share that experience together in 12 months' time or whatever. And
love that.
Yeah, I'm super. I need him to win.
So The way that you're talking about this guy now is the way that I have felt and the way that I feel about my right-hand man, Callum, with the Rainmakers, for example. So Callum signed on as a client of mine back in my last company, literally gave me his last dollar. He was earning minimum wage, working at a trade store. Do you know what I mean? Followed my system, made a ton of money super quickly, became a great client, then went on to build his own coaching business, helping younger teens, like boy teens, be able to get in shape and stuff like that. Anyway, I've been helping him with marketing and stuff like that. And he's like a gun marketer now. And so I love that you say that, because I can see that's the kind of same journey that I went along with Callum. And I love being able to work with Callum and do this together with him. So if I were you, I would pour a ton of time and attention into coaching him to be amazing. Now, what does that practically look like? This is literally what I sent one of my partners today with how they are going to lead and manage their sales team right now. So really quickly, I'll just run you through it. I break this down into two parts for sales leadership. There's self-parenting, which is how do you have the sales rep take care of themselves so that they're most effective and efficient. And then there's the sales leadership part, which is what are you doing with them? Okay. So self-parenting, I break down into 4 parts. 1, they've got to read and role play the script at the start of every day. So they read and role play by themselves through the script. 2, so they listen to at least 2 calls a day of them going through a closing session. Now, if you have more than one sales rep, you get them to listen to the other person's calls as well. And then at the end of every call, I want them to do a quick report. And this is usually just in a Google sheet. And they've got to answer 4 questions, which was what was good, what was not good, what were the objections or reason if it did not sell, and what could I do better next time? Anybody that's doing sales calls, I believe, should at least be doing those 4 reflective questions upon themselves, even if it's the head honcho themselves doing it. Now, in sales leadership, the way that we broke it down for this team, so they've actually got a sales team of 3 people, like 3 closers, not including setters and stuff, is there's 3 group calls a week. One of the group calls is a training. So it's either training around handling objections, closing, systems and practices for their output and effectiveness, or self-care. The other call is going to be on focusing on what has happened this week in their projections. So at the start of the week, what are your projections for the week and what do you need to be able to get done? And then the other call is to actually go through someone else's call together and you coach them through it, right? So you're like, hey, let's listen to one of your calls that didn't close and let's go through and figure out why do we think this didn't close, and like go through it, doing play by play. Just like, do you know what I mean? And a professional athlete's going to look at, do you mean tape, go through it and be able to report back on them as well. And then I would say at least every 2 weeks, have a quick 15-minute to 20-minute chat with him. Just more of a personal, you just touching base with him. Just be like, hey, James, how's life? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's going on with family? Like, are you having troubles with the missus? Like, how are you feeling? What's your sleep like? Like, you genuinely coaching them through that level that I know you'll be able to do, because you do that for your clients as well. Does that make sense?
100%, man. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, definitely a good idea. I think to be listening to recordings and then answering those 4 questions. Yeah, that'll be super valuable.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. All right. Is there anything else before we wrap that you'd love from me from right now?
Not off the top of my head, man. Yeah, it's been great. I think we just got to nurture our right-hand guy, Thomas, and empower him, make him the best he can be. And it's literally just going to be a matter of time.
All right. If there's one ask I could have, keep me up to date. Throw me a message in 2 weeks and give me an up to date with how everything's going with the sales pipeline numbers. And I'd love to hear in probably about a month or 2, kind of like what the improvements are from there. I'm pumped for you, dude. I think you've got amazing amounts of potential for you to be able to take this for where you want to be able to go. I just continue to do it now. I think if you just focus on those 3 things for now, dude, just nail those 3 things in this first 90 days from here, I'm super confident that you'll be laughing at the end of it.